Hi, this is Tom Fleming, and I'm going to give you a free art lesson on how to use salt, table salt and sea salt in creating textures with watercolor. This is actually a more common technique than it may sound like, and we're going to start just laying down just water, plain water. And the nice thing about watercolor is that it's very unpredictable, and the sea salt really creates some really cool textures. So right now I'm going to lay down some violet, and I'm going to really use it loosely. I'm using a flat number 12 sable brush, and we're just going to let this kind of flow all over. Okay, and then I'm going to go in, throw in some blues, and this is just a cobalt blue, and we'll let those blend together a little bit. And we're just creating a nice wet wash. Okay, and I'm just gonna get a little dab there, a little darker color. All right, so now you got a nice base of some watercolor texture, letting it flow into areas. And I'm going to take some coarse sea salt, and I'm going to just dry some of these little bubbles. Sometimes when the water is a little too heavy, it'll inhibit the salt from doing its trick. But I'm going to just take it, and with kind of a controlled area, I would sprinkle it in my hand actually to control it a little bit better. I'm just going to hit the top of this with the coarse. Then at the bottom, I'm going to take regular table salt, and I'll sprinkle that down here. Okay. Now, right now, you really can't tell what's gonna really happen and how it's gonna react. So I have to wait a few minutes. What's gonna happen is that water is gonna absorb into the salt. You let it dry a bit, and it's gonna create all these textures. And once that paint is dry, you just brush the salt off, and it leaves behind these fantastic textures. So at this point, I'm gonna let this dry, and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, and the paint is dry, and as you can see, if you really look in there, the salt created all these really organic type textures that has almost like a coral-like effect. There's, you know, you can see some larger where the crushed sea salt was, and then the very fine little tiny little areas where the table salt was. So just as a note, as a side note, before you crush the salt, if you let the paint dry a little bit more and it's not as wet, the salt will have a stronger effect, and you will get a little bit more white type texture in the larger crushed salt areas. So hope that was informative, hope that helped, and you know, go out, get some salt, lay down some watercolor, and give it a try. Also, be sure to check out my website at www.flemingeditions.com. My art book is Draw and Paint Fantasy Females, and get out there and start painting. Thanks.